Are you ready?
Good news, everyone!
I'm the surprise in your cereal box. I'm
great! Everybody else sucks!
I said, are you ready?
Yes, sir, random kid I just met.
It's Ciely.
Hooray! People are paying attention to me. That's right. You're always blaming me.
So, my reputation exceeds me.
It's time to check the link.
Oh, wait, you serious? Let me laugh even harder.
You know what? You just made the list!
It's all in football.
Sure, we talk about it all the time.
Really?
No, burn.
What is up, you ducks? It's all on football on FTN Network. I was about to do this. I'm like, man, is it 1997? What am I doing with this? It's like, did it anyway. Welcome to All on Football. We are going to talk week 16. There's about 1.5 more weeks for most of you people out there outside of you insane whack jobs who want to play week 18. If you want to play week 18, just do like DraftKings stuff and things like that. That's the recommendation. Or even do a fun draft. Have you ever done one of those, Lauren, where you only draft week 18? You kind of just do like
no. I like that idea, though.
Yeah, just if you want to keep playing, just for the fun of it, because at least. So anyway, it is Stepmom Lauren at Stepmom Lauren. Check her out over there, and at FTN code all in get you 20% off, and she is on Wind Up Wednesdays, so check that out as well. And over at The Athletic, I think it's still $2 a month, and if not, you can actually 50% off a gift subscription, which you could do for yourself instead of just gifts. I do gift cards like that all the time, like when they do like 50% off DoorDash, and I'm just like, for me. Yeah, sure. No problem. So, Lauren, let me phrase it that way. Are you feeling the hurts? Do you have any teams? You do. You do have teams.
Yes. Luckily, just one. So, I'm okay. But, yeah, that sucks. That sucks a lot.
That really does suck, especially because watching the game, it happened before even the last drive. Didn't seem like anything was even going on in the game. There was no news of it until yesterday when the entire Twitterverse fell apart around 4:30-ish, 4 o'clock-ish, somewhere around there, with the Vegas line started moving, and then Adam Schefter drops one of his bombs. Jalen Hurts out for potentially 2 weeks. Shoulder injury, could be back, but that doesn't matter. We need to decide right now. The question I have for you, philosophically, Lauren, it's not, we'll get to the quarterbacks in a second. It's if you were the Jalen Hurts team. Because he's a top 3 quarterback, he is actually number 1 on the season. He is ahead of Josh Allen now. If you lost Hurts, do you go for broke? Because you're trying to replace a top 3 quarterback. You're not replacing, I lost Geno Smith, I lost Aaron Rodgers. You're saying, I lost the number 1 quarterback. So do you go for broke with like, hey, Daniel Jones stunk last week, but hey, he could also score 25 any given week because he could run for a touchdown too? Or do you just play the best potential option on your waivers? Because those are 2 different things.
I think I'm going to go the streaming option. I'll go the streaming option and look for the matchup.
Play the matchups, not from... Okay.
Yeah, I don't like it, but I think that's what I would prefer to do.
Okay, so let's start with there. We don't usually spend this much time on quarterbacks, but there are a lot of people because of all. Tristan Cockcroft tweeted it out yesterday from ESPN. He is a top 3 rostered player on playoff teams, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, good reason why. Right. You have the number 1 quarterback. And if you listen to this show, and I say with Lauren, with Chris Meany, I'm not calling it just myself, but I am going to victory lap the hell out of this one. If you listen to the show, you have Jalen Hurts. So I also apologize because you're also loyal watchers. Merry early Christmas, everybody with the ugly Christmas sweaters. You can show the bite me. Yeah, a lot of people tell me bite me anyway, so you can have that one. So there you go. I'll have another one tomorrow with Chris Meany. You're looking for a quarterback right now.
Oh, yes.
So there's a difference here. Like I gave the streaming quarterback rankings for the rest of the season, Lauren, and I have Brock Purdy first. He faces Washington this week. So I go like Purdy, Carr, Minshew third because it might only be 2 games. There's still some risk with him. Daniel Jones, Heineke, Matt Ryan. So those are for the rest of the playoffs. But we're talking waivers for week 16. So let's go there. Brock Purdy gets Washington at home. Daniel Jones goes to Minnesota.
Yeah, I don't love that one.
You don't. You would still go Purdy against Washington versus Daniel Jones in Minnesota.
Both of them have ups and downs, and they have pros and cons. The problem with
Obviously.
yes, the problem with Minnesota is, can Daniel Jones actually get it done, or is the defense going to get it done?
I feel about that. You know how I
because
feel about
that's
that.
exactly. I know. That's actually how we ended up connecting. Via professional wise, was talking about
Yes.
Daniel Jones
Years ago, Daniel Jones.
Yeah, and I don't like his offensive weapons besides Saquon Barkley that he has around him. That's really tough. I think that even though Minnesota's secondary is absolutely disgusting, I don't know. There's something about the way that San Francisco at home plays with Brock Purdy. Even without Deebo Samuel, there are some options there for him, and he can run it in when they're inside the 5-yard line as well. So I think out of the lesser of two barfs, I think I might lean Brock Purdy.
The lesser of two barfs. I wasn't expecting the lesser of two barfs. Brock Purdy looks like somebody I can't put my finger on it. I gotta figure this out at some point.
I know. He reminds me of Rudy.
Like from the movie?
Yes.
Like young Samwise Gamgee?
Young, skinny Samwise Gamgee, but only in his mugshot. That they have that they put up the picture of Brock Purdy, but in IRL he doesn't look like him. But every time I see his picture, I'm like, is that Samwise?
Hello, fellow kids. How do you do? With the IRL. Did it even say IRL anymore?
I'm with it.
Yeah, sure. All right. So then let's talk about Beowulf. Let's do it. For anybody that doesn't know, I've made this joke since Beowulf's been in the league. I'm talking about Gardner Minshew. His grandpa wanted his dad to name him Beowulf Minshew. He wanted to name the kid Beowulf. Dad said no. He's Gardner Minshew the second. Just so you also know, Gardner is not his dad's name. He just added the second. He just threw the second out there because apparently you can do whatever the hell you want with names. So there you go. That's where Beowulf came from. Gardner Minshew's name. Does it surprise you, his family, looking at Gardner Minshew and the way that he lives life? Does it surprise you that his family's like this? No.
No.
He also lives fantasy and football life a hell of a lot of fun. There are maybe one or two other quarterbacks in the league. I think Heineke and Minshew are very similar because they don't know anything less than balls to the wall. That's how they live life, and that's how they play football. We've seen Gardner Minshew. We've seen the bad of Gardner Minshew. But here's the thing. Gardner Minshew didn't have A.J. Brown last year, and he still put up some fantasy points. Now he has A.J. Brown, potentially Dallas Goedert back. Is Gardner Minshew the top? Is it just that simple? If you lost Jalen Hurts, your answer is the same team. Your answer is Beowulf.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Gardner Minshew. This is the silver lining to the Jalen Hurts situation. Not for people who are struggling now to find a quarterback to replace Jalen Hurts. I get that. But for the fun of watching him play. Please, God. This is going to be so much fun. Not only are the Eagles fun to watch anyway, but with Gardner Minshew, let's go. I'm so excited. Yes, I'm all in on that.
Okay. The funny thing is somebody came for me on Twitter too, and they're like, I don't enjoy this. What do you call it? Lampshade on a head, barstool stuff. And I'm like, you obviously don't know me. And the fact, I don't get it. I don't get the excitement because I said Gardner Minshew is here to save your season and the Eagles playoff hopes or whatever. I wasn't saying they're already clinched. Obviously, I wasn't saying he's going to be better than Jalen Hurts. I'm Jalen Hurts guy. I'm the Jalen Hurts guy. Get out of here. But I'm also the Gardner Minshew guy. So let me run through all the potential. These are all 60%.
You're also an atheist Nazi too. Don't forget that.
That's true. That's why I'm wearing Star Wars instead of a Christmas sweater. The ugly Christmas sweater, Star Wars, because the Force is going to save you, not Jesus. So there you go.
Why didn't I wear my other sweater? I'm so mad at myself right now. So
let me run through other stream. These are all 60% or under rostered quarterbacks. Any of them are over Gardner Minshew. We're making a list and checking it twice. We're making a list. We're making a Christmas list. You already said over Brock Purdy and Daniel Jones, right?
Yes,
so
for sure.
Gardner Minshew versus Derek Carr against Pittsburgh with everybody back.
That is spicy. Oh man, that is rough. I'm still gonna go Gardner Minshew. I'm still gonna go Gardner Minshew. That's a tough one though. That is a really tough one, per usual, Jake, and your tough lists that I have to play along with. But I still think I'm gonna go Gardner Minshew here, specifically because this is an interdivisional game against the Cowboys. This is going to be drag out, super fun. Cowboys have shown that that secondary is so good. So
they also
with AJ Brown,
17 people on IR.
Yeah,
or not IR, injured. So
yes,
that's why Dallas has been. Oh yeah, some is. Does it surprise you? I came back at somebody on Twitter for something. Somebody was like,
didn't.
Oh yeah, he's like the Cowboys they're gonna take away AJ Brown and blah blah blah. It's like, do you know the Dallas Cowboys since about week 8? The Dallas Cowboys stink against the pass.
Texans.
The Dallas Cowboys, they lost to the Jaguars. I made a lot of money off Trevor Lawrence and Zay Jones last week because the Dallas Cowboys pass stinks right now. It should get better. It's talented enough to get better, but right now,
thank God my
stinks.
opponent had Zay Jones on the bench.
Mine.
Clearly, he doesn't listen to our show.
I had so much Zay Jones fun in Week 15. So I know you're going to say Gardner over Heineke because Heineke, two things. One, probably take it anyway, but Heineke's also got San Francisco this week. Gardner Minshew over Matt Ryan, Tannehill, Mac Jones. I mean, there's so the only one that I was surprised. I don't know what kind of leagues these people are playing in, but apparently there's a lot of leagues slow to the uptake here. Not listening to this show, not listening to advice. Trevor Lawrence still floating out there in some leagues, but I bring that up to say this: if Trevor Lawrence was available, if Trevor Lawrence is your quarterback, do you go Trevor Lawrence or do you go Gardner Minshew?
Who are the Jags playing?
Thursday night in New Jersey.
No, I'm going to go Gardner Minshew over Trevor Lawrence.
Wow, I like it.
I'm going to go Gardner Minshew over Trevor Lawrence.
Spicy
I despise, Christmas. I know, I am. Just sprinkle that Cholula on there. I despise Thursday night games, and I don't like that situation at all. So I'm going to go Gardner Minshew, please.
Every time I see the Cholula thing, I always think Chalupa.
I know, me too.
I do too.
Can I have the chalupa sauce, please?
Chalupa sauce. Here's one more, and our good friend Brett Thunderstruck. Yep, he asked the same question I've seen in a few places. I guess a lot of people dropped Aaron Rodgers, got tired of him for a while there. There's two things. We're going to talk about the wide receiver situation a little bit because we're going to talk more waivers, actually get into running backs and wide receivers. But if Aaron Rodgers was out there, one of the only 3 games on Christmas, reminder again, the main show is on Saturday, Christmas Eve. Sunday is basically
I'm working
Thanksgiving.
all Christmas Eve. Yay.
We all are. Well, hopefully you're not working for that night game. Raiders, Steelers.
No, I'm doing
spend time with your families.
It's the NBC Sports Edge fantasy blog that I do. So I update every scoring play, injury, big play that happens during all the 1 o'clock games, all the 4 o'clock Eastern games. I update it live on the website.
Oh, okay.
So
are you
what
making
I do.
jokey jokes in there with all the updates?
I am very professional in my blog.
Okay. So, as you can, nobody can see you winking on the podcast. But anyway.
Well, that's why they need to watch the show so they can look at our beautiful sweaters, my Santa hat, and me winking.
Aaron Rodgers in Miami or Gardner Minshew against Dallas in Dallas.
I'm going Gardner Minshew over Aaron
That's going to be a tough one.
It is a hard one. It is. Miami has a lot to prove, though, and there's just something not right, in my opinion, with
Aaron Rodgers. It's the thumb.
Not just that. I think it's his vision too. I think he's seeing things, literally seeing things.
Oh, it's all the horse spit. It's thrown off his balance or whatever the hell he's taking. The horse juice, whatever.
No. Move along.
I have a feeling in your mind you took that another level.
I don't want to even get into any more nasty crap like Rex Ryan's foot fetish and whatever the heck we talked about the other week. Let's just move along. I'm gonna take Gardner Minshew over Aaron Rodgers. And here we are.
That's certainly fine.
Don't make me laugh because my mascara is gonna start running again.
That was my way of slow. I was getting a little misty from the laughing. That's what I was doing.
Misty?
Right I don't know how else to what. I'm not teary eyed. Just that little bit of that little bit. I don't know. Somebody blew fairy dust in my eyes, and I'm like, ah.
It was Taylor Heineke. He's good at that.
Oh, where did that come from, by the way? Who started this?
It was Chris Collinsworth.
Oh, that's not surprised. Something to blame Chris Collinsworth.
He sprinkles on the magic. I put it in my waiver column today too, and I was like, Taylor Heineke sprinkles on the magic holiday dust. Just have to use it. I can't even see my computer now because my eyes are so teared up. Who are you? Am I still on camera?
I thought those are the people that like go to the strip clubs on Christmas. They get the holiday dust.
They show up for Christmas
home
dinner.
with the holiday
why are you
dust.
covered in glitter?
Holiday dust?
and you smell like gas station perfume. Here we go.
I got
what
the smell is? I don't know. I've never.
Baby water and gas station perfume. I've never been to a strip club before. Can you tell?
Are you about to wink, wink?
Wink, wink.
I was just about to say. I know probably most people are. I don't know. I was about to say aren't going to believe me, and then I was going to say maybe they will. But I was going to say I've never been. And
I believe you.
I was going to say I don't know which way to go with that one. So another injury.
Greatest time to ever go to a strip club is with a big gaggle of lesbians. Greatest fun you'll ever have. Okay.
I thought you were going to say Monday at lunch. Isn't that like the worst?
You can do that too. I don't stoop that low, but no. It's the greatest time I've ever had. Happy birthday.
You know those things? Have you ever been to like some of the delis and stuff like that where they have, as soon as you open the door, it's the big fan because it's supposed to keep the flies out?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about? You open it, it's like, and it keeps the flies from flying in. They should do that for strip clubs as you walk out so it blows all the dust off of you.
That glitter doesn't go anywhere, my friend. It's stuck into the pores of your skin, and it does not come out.
This is disgusting. Let's move on. Jonathan Taylor.
This went so far off the rails. I'm going to get yelled at, aren't I?
No, I would be. At least I didn't call anybody a blank hole this time, like your cats.
That's true.
So,
my poor cat.
Jonathan Taylor hurt. Here we have to go. We're not talking Marlon Mack yet. We are talking Zach Moss. We're talking the return of Zach. And no Jonathan Taylor, actually, as we started this show, officially on IR, he's done for the season. We all kind of knew that, but not the official. Yeah, and Zach Moss and Deion Jackson. So here's how I broke it down, Lauren, see if you agree. For the rest of the season, I do have Zach Moss, then Deion Jackson, back-to-back. Barely Zach Moss, because not this week, but the next 2 weeks after this, the Colts get the Giants, and then Vikings, if you play Week 18. I forget who the Colts. I might be right or wrong. It's easier 2 games than this week against the Chargers. If I was only going this week, I compared him to basically the Patriots situation with no Ramondre Stevenson. I want the pass catcher. And I think Deion Jackson is clearly the pass catcher. I think Zach Moss is more of what would have been Kevin Harris and Pierre Strong. So for that case, if I'm going to look at this game, I'm going to look at the game and say they're facing the Chargers. Chargers acceptable against the run. Also acceptable against the pass. But they can put up points. I'm going with Deion Jackson, who, by the way, had 3 chances to be the lead. 2 games were really good. And the one that stunk was with Sam Ehlinger. Like, I think we can kind of give him a little bit of a pass for that. No pun intended. Are you in the same boat? Or are you going to tell me Zach Moss is the guy?
No, I'm not going to tell you Zach Moss is the guy because he had more carries. I think he had double the amount of carries that Deion Jackson did. It doesn't matter because this is what Zach Moss does. He infuriatingly becomes fantasy relevant for a week and then never heard from again. So people are going to be scrambling to the waiver wire to be like, but he got double-digit carries, way more than Deion Jackson, blah, 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 blah. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. This was our issue last season when it came to the Buffalo running backs when Zach Moss was still a Bill. And no, I'm not falling for that trap. I'm going with the known commodity that we have in Deion Jackson and what he's able to do.
Did you say, it's a trap?
I didn't, but you did. I know where that's from too.
I would hope so. I underscored. This is my hands. Understand? I'm not playing with my chests here. I was saying.
Thank you, Mo Brooks.
There you go. All right. So let's talk more running backs. We've got that out of the way. Tyler Algier. This is exactly what I expected for Tyler Algier this year. I'm victory lapping that, sure, but that's not why I'm saying this. I'm saying it to say this. He's still out there. He's still rostered.
He's very serviceable. He's serviceable. I mean, it's not any. Go ahead.
So, would you go Tyler Algier and his serviceable safeness over Zach Moss and Deion Jackson?
That's going to be my fantasy name in one of my leagues. Serviceable safeness. It's a trap. Over who? Deion Jackson. Sorry, I'm still stuck on serviceable safeness. depending on how my roster is set up, that is enticing. That is very enticing. I really like having people that I know are, sorry to repeat this again, who are safe and who are serviceable in an offense where I kind of know what
serviceably safe.
Serviceably safe. I kind of know what to expect out of them so that I can have some of those swing for the fences guys too. I don't mind that. Now, would I rather have Deion Jackson?
For the upside?
Yeah,
well, because
for the upside.
Here's the way that you look at it, too.
That's the biggest problem, because who's the RB1 in that offense? It's not Tyler Algier.
Right. There was a balloon. The balloon just flew away.
We just need to clip that one little segment with my face and you making that noise.
I actually think at this point of the year, it is Algier is the one, and Patterson is the change of pace. Without that touchdown, Patterson was having a bad day.
That's true. That's true.
So the reason I was going to say Algier is, so it depends on your roster, and what you said is a really good point that I try to hammer home, and I say it all 18 weeks of the season when people say who to start, and they say, should I start blank or blank? Mm-hmm. And without knowing the context of the rest of the roster, a lot of it comes down to what do you need? That's the reason why I have a 101 article on the site that kind of breaks this down, is that if you want points, if you say, my team's good, I just don't want to risk a zero.
Right.
Algier is your answer. If you want to say, I want the upside, well then, Zach Moss, and you hope Indy gets out to an early lead and tries to grind out the clock with Zach Moss. You go Deion Jackson, you hope that they get behind, and it's a high passing game, and you kind of go behind it, and that's Deion Jackson. So that's where it comes into play. So in this same vein, Lauren, Gus Edwards is still around 50%. Gus Edwards is RB3, 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 and then he gets a touchdown. It's like, oh, top 15. But he's going to get yards. He's going to do it every single week. So is Gus Edwards in the same conversation as Tyler Algier for you? Or would you, in this case, because you definitively know he's the backup option, would you go with one of the Colts?
I really like what the Ravens do on the ground, and they're mostly running. Especially, we don't know really is Lamar Jackson cleared for this week, or do we have any more?
Still up in the air. There's a chance he could come back this week.
So it's tough for me because I really want to lean on an offense that runs the ball majority of the time. So I think I might lean Gus Edwards on that one. But I don't know, right? I want that definitive Tyler Algier is going to get me anywhere between 8 to 12 points. Okay. I think I'm going to stick with Algier on this because I know what is going to come out of this, especially with their rookie quarterback at the helm. They're going to be handing the ball off as well, even though Ritter is going to be running a little bit. He's going to be passing. I think I'm still going to go Tyler Algier on this one. But if I don't need a starter, I think I'm going to get Gus Edwards just in case. Just in case.
Dobbins goes. Is kind of a weird question for you. Is J.K. Dobbins having the best broken-looking run? Like, he still doesn't look 100%.
No,
and he is dominating.
He looks like a very rusty robot, like that really needs some oils in the joints.
Just in the one leg.
How I, not nearly as physical or as strong, but like I'm 39, so when I try to go run places, it's not graceful looking. I get winded, like things don't work right. That's what J.K. Dobbins kind of looks like to me, and it's like, just take some glucosamine and chondroitin or something and, lubricate those joints, my friend. Like, you look rusty.
So I have one more for you.
But he's still really good. It's crazy.
Could you imagine if he was 100%? This is the J.K. Dobbins we wanted. This is terrific. So, oh, man, people did not want to come back to him. Like, the people it was, first of all.
I can understand that.
No, not J.K. Dobbins. Hold on. This is a new person. This is a new person. Ooh. That if people listened at this point, probably didn't make the playoffs, or if they didn't want to come back to them. And even if they did, they're probably not watching the show because they're probably like, bite me, Jake, like your sweatshirt.
Oh.
Over the last 3 weeks, Cam Akers is RB12. He had another 100 total yards. He actually led the Rams in receiving. Look at each other.
I quit.
Cam Akers is real.
I know.
Cam Akers, more fantasy points than with 3 games played. Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, DeAndre Swift, Isaiah Pacheco, and I can keep going down this list. Cam Akers is right there with Miles Sanders over the last 3 weeks, partly because Miles Sanders just laid a dud. But home against Denver. This is Christmas Day, if you want to watch a fun game, Miami, go out for the afternoon and spend it with your family because 4 o'clock is Denver at Los Angeles. Go do other things. But against Denver at home, or Denver's facing them. So like against that bad matchup of what Denver can bring defensively, it's still good. Cam Akers over any of the guys. Cam Akers versus the Colts guys. Cam Akers versus Tyler Algier. Where is this?
Gross. That's where it is. It's gross. It's bite me territory. Okay, so the thing with Cam Akers is he's very unpredictable. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. I don't hate.
Is he the best of all these options?
I think he might be, and I hate it.
Yeah.
I'm not happy. For anyone watching this video, I'm slouched in my chair. I'm, physically not doing well.
All you need to know is that I tweet out jokingly. We
loved Cam Akers, and
No. I jokingly said this is what we were waiting for. This is the play. Like, people should know it's tongue in cheek. I was like, this is why I drafted Cam Akers in the 4th and 5th round, was to save my playoffs. And people are like, seriously? Like, no. We obviously wildly missed on Cam Akers. But
did we?
I mean, yes, we still did. That's it. You know what? That's another interesting philosophical question. If you knew you had to pay a 5th round cost on a running back who would do nothing until the playoffs, but be an RB1 just for your playoffs and the 2 weeks before, would you still pay that cost? That's an interesting question.
I think I
would. Right? That's an interesting question to kind of think about.
Yeah, I actually think I might.
I mean, look at the waiver running backs we're talking about here. Like, see that segue there?
Oh.
Chuba Hubbard. Kept telling my worries about DeAndre Foreman, and I didn't think it was going to be that bad. This is admittedly from somebody that was like, yeah, I still think this is a split. And saved his day 2 weeks ago. Got 70-something yards at the end of the day, most of it in the 4th quarter. I'm like, okay, it should be fine, 50-50 split. No, 10 carries for 9 yards.
Yeah.
Didn't even average a yard per carry. Chuba Hubbard, this is the first game. You know what the split was? 70-35. They're on the field together for some. It's all Chuba Hubbard right now. Is that, Are we officially here? Is this officially Hubbard is the lead when healthy and Foreman is the Like, let's go full circle. Well, let me go back, because Meanie had this conversation with me way back when this first happened. When the Christian McCaffrey thing sat here, we had a conversation where he said he believes that Deonta Foreman was the pass catcher and Hubbard was the lead. And I was like, I don't know, but, maybe like a more 50-50. So you don't buy it either. You don't buy that Hubbard is now the safe option.
I don't, because I have every reason to believe next week it's going to be different. I don't believe in it. I don't think that I don't think that it's a trend or a pattern. I think this was, let's mix up the game plan. Let's try something a little bit different. I don't know. I don't trust it. I don't have any faith in either of those two guys. If I can stay away from both of them, I absolutely would.
Would you go? And this is a little bit of a different spin because this is a rankings kind of question, but he's basically, I don't think I have him in the worries. I don't have him in the worries, but you could put the worry there because I talked about him. And sometimes when I talk about things on other shows and stuff like that, I don't put him in the worries because I feel like I already talked about him. It kind of goes out of mind. Zonovan Knight with Zach Wilson is dead to me. That's why, because we talked about it yesterday. You're dead to me, bro. Like, this is like, Zach Wilson ruined you. It's fine. I'm sorry, but Zach Wilson, the roller coaster checked into the station, get off, exit, go to another ride because it's over. I would play Chuba Hubbard over Zonovan Knight because it's Zach Wilson.
I know. I guess. Yeah, I can see that argument. I can see that argument. Yes, I think I would do the same. I won't like it, though. It's not something that I have faith in, and I'm like, yay! No, I'd be like, oh my god, why?
If I'm chasing Ciely in that, I would still go Zonovan because you still get plenty of opportunities. It's just that Zach Wilson crushes his running backs because I don't think he knows they exist, that he can throw to them. And his eyes, it's funny. His eyes just he doesn't go down. He's intermediate, but he's intermediate. He's blinders intermediate. As I'm doing this,
he sucks. Intermediate is what you mean.
I said that coming out of college. Everybody wanted to tell me. I was like, nope. Oh, do you remember? We talked about it. I said he's new Daniel Jones, who I also didn't like. You know what? Before we even get to it, I've already said it a couple times. All you Will Levis people, new Zach Wilson, new Daniel Jones. There you go. Moving on. Wide receiver. No, wait. There's a few more. I put all these in the conversation of they are RB4s, but they're RB4s where they could finish top 15. So because they're in a group together, let me see if you have a preference. And you'll see exactly why, because they are all RB4s. James Cook, Jordan Mason, Jalen Warren, Marlon Mack, Joshua Kelly, and then Savon Ahmed if Jeff Wilson doesn't come back. Do you have a preference in that range?
I don't mind Warren. He's probably my favorite out of these, and then right after that is Mason.
Or is it better with Trubisky?
I think it was better with Trubisky.
Because they don't want Trubisky to have the ball.
The Trubisky. Yeah, that's exactly why. And Najee Harris needs a break every once in a while. So I think I would go Warren and then Mason as my two favorite.
And if you're going for pure upside, would you? We talked about Khalil Herbert a couple times. He
has
officially, the window's open, could be activated. And if you, Jonathan Taylor, week before, injury, injury. Do not let Khalil Herbert, if dropped, sit back out there, because if Dave Montgomery goes down this week,
something could happen in practice. You never ever know, especially when it comes to
don't want any more
a
injuries.
high-end insurance policy in Khalil Herbert. Do not let him sit out there.
2 more weeks. Let's just get through it. Let's get through it. All right. Treylon Burks. Is he ever going to play again? But
I don't know, but he annoys me.
But if you knew today Treylon Burks was returning this week for Tennessee Titans, good matchup, Houston, Treylon Burks, you're going to get him, right?
Yes.
You play him as a wide receiver. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. We've talked about it for so. Would you go Treylon Burks or Zay Jones if both are on the waiver wire and Zay Jones has the Jets this week?
Zay Jones.
Thank you. I just want to make sure.
I'm glad I passed your test. Do you see what I have to deal with, my friends?
So for everybody, like, you know this by now, I have that emoji with the snort nose, like because it's like, it's the frustrated emoji. I think I don't even know what it's called. I should put it on Siri, because Siri, you know how Siri always describes the emoji?
Oh my God, it's hilarious when you're in the car driving. Oh
yeah, and you get it through the speaker system. It's like blah 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 blah, and then like it breaks down the hearts too. Like if somebody sends you it's like red suited card heart emoji, and I'm like, I didn't need the designation of the heart. Thank you very much. I put 2 snorting emojis for Zay Jones because I don't know how long. And so here's one. Treylon Burks, Zay Jones, or Desmond Ridder threw 42% of his passes to Drake London. Drake London caught 72% of the passing yards from Desmond Ridder. That's Deontay Johnson insanity. Actually, that's beyond the 72% of the yards is insane. Because this is Deontay Johnson with Trubisky. Trubisky looks to Deontay Johnson, and then he's like, oh, I'll throw to somebody else. Nope, back to Deontay Johnson. That's very similar for Desmond Ridder. Is Drake London in this conversation, or is it clearly Burks and Zay for you and then London?
That's correct. It is.
Okay, that's how I have it.
Precisely, yes. Same.
If people didn't listen for weeks and Jahan Dotson is still out there.
Please, people.
Do you go Dotson or London?
I'm going Dotson over all of them. He is my
all of them
guy, except for Zay Jones.
Okay.
I'm going to go
so over
Zay Jones,
Treylon and
Dotson,
Drake?
Treylon Burks, then Drake London.
All rookies, by the way.
And so the reason
Except
I like
for Zay.
this is because Taylor Heineke has finally realized that there are other receivers on his team besides Antonio Gibson and Terry McLaurin. They're good.
A few weeks.
It took a few weeks, but we're there. We made it.
Well, Dawson was coming back from injury, too.
That's true. They needed to build a little bit rapport. But he targeted him, and he was good. Like, just forget about the Diami Browns. I don't want to hear anybody asking me whether you should pick him up. No, the answer is Jahan Dotson, because he's a very, very, very good wide receiver, and now he has Taylor Heineke's trust, which I like a lot. So that opens up a lot of avenues for Taylor Heineke. That actually opens up stuff for Logan Thomas, too, which I thought was exciting. So I'm going to put Jahan Dotson up there because of what I think the game script is going to force the Commanders to do, which means looking downfield, looking deep to Jahan Dotson, and that gives him every opportunity to score massive amounts of points. Yes, that is more of a boom or bust territory, but Jahan Dotson is talented enough to err more on the boom side as opposed to the bust side, especially if they're going to try to go from behind. They're trying to put points on the board, and Taylor Heineke is not afraid to air it out, which was very exciting to watch. So I'm all about Jahan Dotson. I love him.
You know, love some Heineke. By the way, if I could, I want to get like a photograph of that death stare he had at the end of the game for Curtis Samuel. Curtis Samuel was like freaking sleeper hold UFC trying to submit in the end zone. And when he was on the ground and that death stare, oh my God, if you could kill somebody with a look, Oh, Tyler Haneke was killing people on that look. I'm glad you went into that context because I was going to ask the follow-up question of even against the 49ers. And I'm glad you said that, like, that's why you would still play it. Also, interestingly enough, as good as the 49er defense is, and it is one of the best defenses in the league,
Yes, it is.
they are also top 10 in giving up 20-yard plus plays to receivers. Like it's like when people break behind them or actually break a tackle, they get some big plays. They get some chunk plays.
Yeah, so what they've done is that they have managed to keep those chunk plays contained in between the 20s. We'll just put it there, right? Of course, There's been some past that, but
that's called the Matt Forte. You do all your work in between the.
There you
20s
go.
and
That's exactly true. That's exactly true. So yeah, they managed to give up a lot of yards in between the 20s, but they have just stymied offenses when it comes to touchdowns. But those big chunk plays are where Jahan Dotson makes the most hay, if you will. The chunk plays with the hay. I don't even know. I like it. I believe that there's plenty of meat on the bone for wide receivers against the 49ers, just not necessarily touchdowns, those big, huge touchdowns. But there's still going to be a lot of work in between then because you cannot rely just on Brian Robinson to be able to move the chains all the way up and down the field.
They don't even want to. Brian
crazy.
Robinson gets like 3 carries for 50 yards, and they're like, all right, that was enough. Sit down for about 10 plays. Like,
well, he was shot this season, so they might want to give him a break. He's still hurt.
that was like 2 months ago.
He said he's
that
still
might as well be
recovering.
2005 at this point.
He said he's still recovering and he's still not 100%, so he does have to take breaks. He admitted that. He talked about it, and he's like, I'm still not 100%, but every single day I get better. Every day I wake up in pain. My knee hurts, but you know what? I power through it. They're giving him that opportunity to not overuse him, but still use him when they need to. And that makes 100% sense to me, especially since he said he's still trying to recover. So I'm all about that. That also means I'm all about the Jahan Dotson life because they're going to be throwing the football.
Okay, I'm fine. Chris Moore still out there in a lot of leagues. Chris Moore continues to be the one. And that Brandon Cooks, maybe. But this is very simple. Brandon Cooks comes back. It's over, Chris Moore. If Nico Collins comes back, maybe still a desperation play, but in week 16, I doubt you need that. So the more interesting one is in this wide receiver's first game back. This should be fresh in everybody's minds. Why? Because it was last night. Romeo Doubs came back, and he wasn't running as the top 2 because that was Watson and Lazard. But if you watched that game and you knew nothing up to this point of the season, you would assume Lazard was the 3, maybe even the 4. Aaron Rodgers went to Watson and Doubs, and Watson and Cobb still too. Yeah. But for at least one game, Lazard was kind of kicked aside for Watson and Doubs. Is that one game? And we remember, and now if you go back and you did watch this season, you do know that Doubs had some games, but that was also before Christian Watson was a thing. So if you're heading into this week, do you go take a flyer on Doubs against Miami, or are you concerned that it's just so many mouths to feed? It could be an Alan Lazard week. It could be a Randall Cobb week. It could be a Robert Tonyan week. Like, it's just, there's a lot here.
Yeah, I'm going with the latter. I'm not trusting it. I think there are better options available on the wire over Romeo Doubs.
Okay. Would you go with MVS, even if Hardman comes back?
No. Same thing. Same principle, same idea.
Elijah Moore, with every option replacing Corey Davis getting hurt at this point. Like they're down to Jeff Smith now, who also got banged up a little bit. I think he's perfectly okay. But Elijah Moore interest versus any of these? Doubs versus Elijah Moore.
Elijah Moore.
Okay. How about, speaking of somebody that didn't show up until your playoffs, and you didn't get to use him because he wasn't on rosters. I know that because I checked the percentages of the top 12 wide receivers in week 15. 4 were under 14%, and actually 3 of those 4 were under 5%. And one of those was Russell Gage. Everybody drafted Russell Gage in like the 8th, 9th, 10th round because, like, hey, Tom Brady makes the number 3 good. Look at Antonio Brown. It doesn't matter. And granted, Russell Gage is not Antonio Brown, which is why you took him in the 8th, 9th, 10th and not in like the 5th. But everybody's excited for Russell Gage. And like, look, you're going to get 6 weeks with no Chris Godwin. It's going to take time for Godwin to get back into the fold. And then Gage could still have value. Gage went bananas in week 15. Is that enough for you to roll the dice on Russell Gage over Moore, MVS, Doubs, the other Moore and kind of put him in that conversation with the Zay Jones, Dotsons of the world?
I will take him over said wide receivers, but I don't think that he is in the same conversation as Zay Jones and Dotson. Just
so he
a
leads
hair
this
behind.
tier we're talking about.
Yes, he does. But I think that's below my Dotson and my Zay Jones.
See, I would still take Dobbs. I would take the risk of Dobbs.
Interesting. I just don't trust Aaron Rodgers. I think
that's
trust
my
Tom
thing.
Brady. That's another thing too. And there's also Chris Godwin there as well. But Tom Brady, once he does start to get that rapport going and he builds that trust, he has to be able to target people because he's not throwing it deep anymore. So
hold on.
7/8 of a minute left. What? I'm kidding.
I hate to do this, and especially because it's Mr. Thunderstruck might get a Mutombo in the chat. Asking a question that is in the waivers column.
Maybe he hasn't had a chance to read it yet.
Full-on tweet embedded in the column, a full-on breakdown of the worry report for the entire Eagles team. And Brett is asking, does Minshew target his tight ends much? Love you, Brett. It's in there. Check the link. Smacked in the face.
Check the link.
I will mention for everybody that hasn't seen the article. Yes. So 2021, Minshew had 2 starts or 2 games. He had a little bit of a mix-in for the 1 week. We don't throw that out. It was 2 games. One was also with the week 18 backups. So the air yards and attempt and touchdown per attempt are really high. Tight end percentage, 20%. Gardner Minshew for his career, tight ends 15%. He also dealt with Jacksonville for a while. That doesn't really come relative. He did throw a lot to Dallas Goedert for the one time. But again, there's no A.J. Brown. There's a lot of factors here at play. So since we've kind of skipped to this, let's talk the worries. And I'll give you the worry ducks that I handed out because I did everybody. Miles Sanders, A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith. I did Miles Sanders 1 in an egg because Jalen Hurts, that backfield, first of all, 2 interceptions to the start of that game, was out of hand real quick.
It was really
Jalen Hurts was the backfield, and Miles Sanders still led. He still dominated what was the backfield for the other running backs. So he's 1 in an egg. A.J. Brown, I gave 2, just because he's still a wide receiver 1. He's just not top 5, 6. Minshew might spread it around a little bit more, might not. But I gave Devonta Smith 3 because Devonta Smith 3. Even when Jalen Hurts was at quarterback, Devonta Smith was very up and down if you look at the game log with Dallas Goedert. It was like 3, 12, 3, 20, 5, 12. Like, it was very up and down. This consistency didn't come until Dallas Goedert was out. And that's why I gave him 3. Do you agree with those ducks? Do you give some more out? Do you pull some back? Where are you?
No, I'm actually right on the same page with you. I like the duck in an egg for Miles Sanders instead of anything more than that because just exactly the reasons you laid out. And I 100% agree with you. My biggest worry for the offensive pass catchers is going to be with Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert, it's just, he is insanely talented. All right. Really, really, really good. And he can move the chains. He gets first downs. And I think Gardner Minshew is very comfortable targeting Dallas Goedert. So yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm not worried about A.J. Brown, not worried about Miles Sanders or Dallas Goedert. I'm the most worried about Devonta Smith. I'm
so in on Dallas Goedert that, and I'm not basing this off one game, but the volatility of Njoku, the volatility of essentially Cole Kmet, like Dallas Goedert back, top 5.
Oh, easily.
Unless he's still limited Friday and like he's going to play, but might be. Would you go? I know this isn't the ranking show, but would you go Darren Waller or Dallas Goedert in week 16?
Goedert.
Okay, and I think that's the point. It's like I think that's a fair.
He's incredibly
argument
safe
either way.
with huge upside. I mean, it's hard to go wrong when he's healthy. So.
Real quick to go back to wide receiver before we get the other 2 worries and then get out of here for the day. Reminder, go to FTN, that's where Lauren is, and Meanie, and all the good people over there. Code all in, 20% off, and The Athletic. And you can go buy yourself a subscription at 50% off. Is it time, or maybe last week was time, but maybe not, because here's why. Rashid Shaheed. Fun name, fun player. It was like, hey, you can't score a touchdown on one play every single week. But here's the interesting thing. Back-to-back weeks of over 70% of the work. Last week was the first one. He was actually, 69% if you want to round up. There you go. So actually it was 68.6. 2 weeks in a row, he's had over that. Last week, he got up to 90%. He is being worked out there with Olave as the 1 and the 2. He has 4 for 4 for 75 and 4 for 3 for 95 and a touchdown the past 2 weeks. Is Rashid Shaheed potentially a playoff savior? Rashid Shaheed, the savior?
I'm avoiding that. If I'm going to take someone off the wire from the Saints, it's going to be Juwan Johnson.
No, I mean, you took the easy way out because he's been great at tight end all year.
It's the playoffs. Yes, I'm going to take the easy way out with higher upside. No, I'm staying away from machine.
Playoffs? It's a trap. Playoffs? It's a trap.
No. Speak on you.
Be gone, you. Would you go Juwan Johnson or would you go Darren Waller?
I would go Juwan Johnson.
I'm going Darren Waller. Bet.
I would go Juwan Johnson.
Week 16 bet.
Let's do it.
Darren Waller was out there for about 50%. Hunter Renfrow was about 40%, but running routes when they're out there. And that was their first game back. So that's a fun. It's tight end. So, I mean, we're both going to be wrong, and it's going to be Daniel Bellinger or something.
I know. Watch that. I can't.
So let's go back to it. I did hand out, it's week 16. Infinity Duck, Deonta Foreman. Does he deserve more or less? Like, are you on the Infinity Duck? There's no way you're starting Deonta Foreman week 16? Just move on? Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so 2 more. I'm going to get out of here. Brandon Ayuk. I only gave him 2. People don't full of panic. But if you look at that game, the 49ers got out super early and just cruised. Let's say you look at the box score, that last touchdown for Seattle was late. And that was, for all intents and purposes, garbage time. So Brandon Ayuk, the other part of this that I do like is Washington's defense is really good, but where they really excel is against tight ends. Not that I'm not playing George Kittle, but I think Ayuk's in a good spot for a bounce back this week.
I agree with you. I like Brandon Ayuk. I was worried about him with Brock Purdy. Those worries were laid to rest. And yes, he had a down game, but I think that was more of an anomaly.
Banged up a little bit too, but they said he should be fine for this week. All right, last one. Before we get out of here, I mentioned his name already, David Njoku. It's tight end, so how upset are we really going to get? But I give him 3, and they're all because of Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, the rust, he might have chipped off a piece of his, rust off his leg after that first game, but he's basically still Tin Man, oil can. I need some, there's a lot of rust there.
2 years, people. 2 years. No. I would try to stay away from it if you can. The only one that I actually don't mind in that offense is Donovan Peoples-Jones, but we're talking tight ends here. If you're desperate, you're going to have to play Njoku. But I'd rather play Juwan Johnson than David Njoku. I mean, no. I don't like it.
Last one. And this might be interesting. And I broke it down. Big paragraph. If you want to ask about it, Brett, go ahead. Just kidding. I love you, Brett. I love you. So, Justin Herbert. I broke it down. Interestingly enough, I watched that game and I was like, hey, this feels off. Something feels off. And I went back and was watching some more Justin Herbert. Obviously, I turned to the Denver game because it got completely shut down. Denver's defense is great. So there's little context there. So I dug through the numbers. Interestingly enough, this is where I go. He's better versus zone than man. There are a lot of quarterbacks that are like that. The completion percentage, touchdown interception ratio, yards per completion is everything. Play action percentage was down. They also didn't get the run game really going well in that game.
Yeah.
Here's the good news.
Again, Denver.
The Rams are the highest zone team in the league, and the Colts are 14th. Herbert's bouncing back. I gave him a duck and an egg.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know about an egg. I would just do 1 duck.
Okay. You get an infinity duck if you don't go check out all the work of Lauren and everybody over there. And another infinity duck if you don't come back tomorrow to talk Week 16 ranks with Chris Meany and more ugly sweaters. And also an infinity duck if your name is Brett Thunderstruck. We will see you later.
Oh, bummer. I love you, Brett.